Welcome to Real to the T, where the real gets realer, the tea gets hotter, and the motivation hits harder than your favorite espresso martini. Hosted by Amanda Rupley, top 1% realtor, best-selling author, speaker, and founder of ASPIRE Realty Group. This show is your VIP pass to the chaos, comedy, and candid truth behind real estate, pop culture, and life as a boss mom building an empire. From wild closings to headline-sparking hot takes, and that final sprinkle of inspiration you didn't know you needed, nothing's filtered and nothing's off limits. So buckle up. It's time for Real to the T.
You know those people who say you can't be successful when you mix business with friendship? Yeah, well, I've never been good about doing what people tell me that I can't do. Welcome back to Real to the T, the show where real estate gets real, pop culture gets messy, and we don't gatekeep the good stuff. I'm Amanda Rupley, top 1% agent, best-selling author, founder of ASPIRE Realty Group, and your brutally honest bestie behind the mic. Okay, y'all, but today's guest was literally there on day one. You met his wife. Now it's time to meet him. Before we had a brand, before the logo, before I fully knew what in the world I was doing, Mike Nishita isn't just Meg's husband. He's my husband's best friend, my first ever teammate at Aspire, and someone I trust with my business, my brand, and literally my life. He was the first one to look at me when I said, I think I'm going to build something new, aside, of course, from my husband, but as a teammate, and looked at me and said, let's go. That's his trademark statement, let's go. He's been there since day one, in the trenches, on the wins, during the growing pains, and through the big leaps. Today, we're telling the truth about what it looks like to build a team with your people and keep the friendship intact. From boardrooms to open houses, Mike has done it all. With 2 decades of leadership experience in IT, sales, and human resources, leading a global team, managing high-level deals, and navigating corporate culture, Mike made the leap into real estate with one goal in mind: to create meaningful connections and build a legacy for his family. That's actually 2 goals, but rolled into one. He brings a rare perspective to this business. He's grounded. He's strategic. He's so honest and genuine. He's like that teddy bear, literally could get you to buy a house before you even realize that that's what you're doing. He's insanely capable, and he's always client first. I get to call him my teammate, but I also get to call him a very close friend and the founding member of Aspire. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so let's jump right in. First off, for those that are just listening in who don't really know a lot about you yet, maybe they didn't see episode 1 or listen in on episode 1, what do you want them to know about Mike Nishita?
Go back and listen to episode 1. Just kidding. Who am I?
Thanks for the plug. No.
Yes. Who am I? I'm a family man first and foremost. My wife is my everything. My children are my everything. And as you mentioned earlier, I'm just trying to build an empire for them. So, come from the world of IT, HR, sales, etc. The corporate journey of trying to climb up the corporate ladder. Unfortunately, after so many years, just realized maybe the corporate world just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And obviously meeting you has kind of changed our lives. When I say our lives, my wife and my kids' world as well.
Well, the interesting thing about the corporate ladder, right, is that you have the ceiling. And once you reach the ceiling, you can't really bust through it. And that's something that I've always been extremely drawn to entrepreneurship, is knowing that my worth and my capability is based on what I want to do, my efforts, right? Like there is no limit. And so that is such a huge driving force for me. Would you say that that's one for you now too?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think growing up, it was the normal. You grow up, you go to work, you go to college.
Right.
You get a job, you get a 9 to 5.
That's the American dream.
You want to stay there as many years as possible, and you don't stray away from that.
Right.
And a lot of us don't know that
Yeah.
until we're in the thick of things and corporate life just beats you up.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, you know, it's also kind of an interesting dynamic too, right? Which when I started this podcast, I always knew that I wanted a mix of female and male
Hmm.
because there's so many different perspectives in it. And I think that while that is kind of the overall American dream,
Hmm.
it's also really something that's deeply instilled in men. Like, this is what you do to provide for your family. This is what you're supposed to do.
Most definitely.
And so to kind of have to break this mold, right, of that, I mean, we certainly struggled with that. With Derek. Derek's like, I mean, he hated his job, as you know. And he was like, but no, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, but who said you had to do that? Like, supporting your family looks different for everybody. And a lot of times supporting your family is showing up and being a good husband and a good dad and taking the kids to school and being present.
Yeah, but I think there's something to be said about that, right? That's how we grew up. My dad provided,
Yeah.
that's just how it was. But then also saw a partnership between him and my mom. They were both successful. My dad owned an auto mechanic shop. So he was an entrepreneur, I would say, not working in the corporate world. My mom worked in electronics. She worked in the corporate world. But there was always that really the man provided for the family. And that's how I grew up. So that's all I really knew. So if I wasn't bringing in a constant paycheck and not contributing to the family, it made me feel less of a person, less of a man, like I wasn't doing what I needed to do for my family. But I think you definitely got to get over that and just say, you know what? I have an amazing partner who's willing to support me in this, that can hold us through this time until I ramp up business. And I know that I need to ramp up this business to be able to get back to that place to provide for my family. So,
Sure.
you give and takes, for me at least. I'm not going to say that for everybody else, but that's kind of been a way for me to release from being like, hey, I have the steady paycheck, to trying to move on to the next venture of my life.
Well, I think it was Meg that said in episode 1, you only get to, what was it? The success is on the other side of comfort,
Hmm.
right? And there's nothing comfortable about this business.
No,
Let's be
not at
honest,
all.
right?
Not at
Nothing
all.
comfortable.
Not at all.
And until it's payday.
Yeah,
And then
until
you're like,
it's payday.
okay.
When's the next one?
Yeah, when's the next one? Keep going. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so let's go back to when Aspire was just an idea. What made you say yes?
You, you're the real deal, right? I think that knowing that I eventually
Why do you guys
wanted to
always make me cry.
knowing that I
Golly.
eventually wanted to get into real estate, because again, you were there for when we moved into the city of Frisco. You were part of our first deal. We knew there was a connection there. We were on the investor side. But just seeing your actions, your mindset, your vision of everything. And I mean, that was just inspiring. And to where I'm like, that's the person I want to mimic. And I still say it to this day, I'm going to be the next Amanda Rupley. Because again, you're 10 people in one. But again, I think that I couldn't have picked a better person to talk to, and for them to possibly, for you to see something in me to be like, hey, I want you on this side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little validating, but it was also scary. And like, if I'm going to do it, this is a person that I want to join team and force with to move on again to the next stage of my life.
And that's honestly what gave me a lot of peace in this transition too, was, having the familiar aspects,
Mhm.
right? Like, we obviously have a relationship, our families now have a relationship. And at this point in time, there was that relationship, after we'd all bought a lake house together and
Mhm.
started really spending a lot of time together, which we'll get into. But really, our families got, really, really close. And so when I had come to you guys and said, listen, this is the transition that needs to happen for us
Yeah.
because of that next phase of life, which our families have now had multiple conversations like that. It was, I think it helped me to know that I wasn't going to be fully alone in
Mhm.
this too, because it was a very lonely thing. When I sat with that decision for a few months quietly and hadn't told anybody, that's some of the loneliest and darkest times, that I really struggled with. And so thank you for that. But also I feel such a tremendous responsibility for you and the rest of the team, because you guys have trusted me to leave your job and come do this journey with me, but also, to show up every day and to keep putting one foot in front of the other and all of that. And that is not something I take lightly at all. That is a big responsibility. That I know I probably put more on myself than you
Mhm.
guys put on me, but I want everybody to eat and I want everybody to be successful.
And that's true leadership. And you don't find that in a lot of places. I
Mhm.
mean, that is true leadership. And that's what draws a lot of people towards you because they understand. I mean, you're not just looking at, yes, you want to grow your business, you want to grow your brand, but you pour into people. And I think that is huge, right? They're not just another number. You're always looking out for them. You want them to eat. That's huge. You
But
listen.
you do the same thing. I
But
mean,
that's
here you
just,
are pouring into one of our newest teammates without questions asked. I mean, you're like the big brother of the team. Everybody comes to Mikey.
oh, I mean,
I
I
I call
appreciate
him
that.
Mikey, by the way. He doesn't go by Mikey, but he didn't get a decision in this, so I just call him Mikey. I have a nickname for everybody on the team, actually.
You do, you do. But again, yeah, I think that's just the big piece, right? It's just you're working for others because you want them to be successful, and that's just leadership. I mean, coming from the corporate world and being in leadership, you're working for others. You're looking for ways to help them grow, be successful, take roadblocks away, um, but also build your brand, build your business, things of that nature to
Mhm.
become this huge just brand at the end of the day or to be successful. Um, so that's what you do. And I know it's tons of work for you. When you stress, I stress because I know where you're coming from. You're not just coming from a place of numbers. You're coming from a place of, I truly want these people to succeed.
Mhm.
And again, that is very rare. Again, working for different corporate companies, working under different managers, I would take somebody who's willing to pour into me mentorship over money any day. So, and that's you first
Well,
and foremost.
I had two wonderful people um, in my previous team
Hmm.
that did that for me too. And I'm so grateful. And they know that. I mean, we talk about it often. I would not be in real estate had it not been for them. And so it feels like this is a way to be able to kind of pay it forward. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this has been such a huge blessing for our family and it
Hmm.
really put me on a whole different path. I mean, I was a casting director in reality TV. I was very comfortable. That's all I'd ever known. I've been
Hmm.
in entertainment since I was 2 years old. So entertainment is natural for me. And I everybody thinks it's like glitz and glamour and this and that when really it's 16 to 20 hour days. You're traveling all the time. um it's off. I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's awful, but like I had East Coast and West Coast, and but anyway, I was very comfortable. I've had the
Hmm.
pleasure of working on 55 different shows that I worked on, and it was never on my radar to do this. And so that is something that I do not take lightly at all. And I feel like the only way to say thank you is to continue to pay it forward, you know? And you do exactly that. Okay. So okay, you came from a global corporate world, IT,
Hmm.
HR, and sales, is that
Hmm.
right?
Correct.
Okay. How did that background shape the way that you approach real estate today? And what was the biggest surprise when you transitioned into this industry?
I'm going to go backwards. Real estate isn't what everybody thinks it is by any means. But
What
how,
did you think it was?
again, you watch TV, you watch these 30-minute, hour-long episodes, and it's all glamorous, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you find a buyer or seller, you list their property, or you help them purchase a home, and you get paid, and you have this amazing vehicle and amazing life, and
But
you
what they
just
don't show you, and this is what the consumer doesn't understand, right? Because they're producing a TV show.
correct.
And so a lot of what they film is actually recreated of circumstances that have already occurred.
Hmm.
So what you see as it's been listed for a week is really they've been maybe, filming here and there over a 4-month span.
Yeah.
And so they make it look like it's super easy.
But you don't know what you don't know,
You don't
right?
know, yeah.
Until you're actually in the thick of things. And so, obviously, far from, but coming from the corporate world, and how it's helped me shape in this manner. Again, I managed over 150 people, had 5 managers underneath me through 4 different countries, tons of different client managers, things of that nature. So really how it's helped me is I just had to adapt to everybody. I had to be the chameleon, kind of listen. I first and foremost listen to everybody, what their situation is, what their concerns are, how to help them, and then figure out how to communicate with them effectively to be able to have a good conversation, good relationship with that individual, build a rapport, things of that nature. So, I'm thankful for my corporate life in the past. I'm thankful for everybody that worked underneath me because every one of those individuals brought something to the table. I'm a big advocate of I can always learn. It doesn't matter where you come from. Everybody has a different story, different background. So they've taught me a lot to shape my business and how I communicate with people and how I work with people. And
you meet them where they are.
yes,
You're very good about that. They also begged you when you said you were leaving your job. Didn't they beg you to stay?
Yeah.
They didn't want to lose Mikey. Nobody wants to lose Mikey.
Nobody wants. I appreciate that. Yeah. No. I mean, that was it was validating at that point in time. I knew I had to leave. It was very toxic. It definitely had to do with just corporate leadership.
Sure.
On my side of the house, it was very toxic. I worked from home. I would travel, but working from home, coming downstairs to have dinner with my family, Meg, my wife, would say, "What are you doing here? Why are you even at this table?" And I'm just like, just got off a horrible meeting with my boss to where I felt like I was talking to somebody that I have no respect for. And it was very toxic. And that's not the way that I am. And there's a professional way to have conversations, and we just weren't professional. So, needless to say, at that point in time, Meg and I were talking through things, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to transition out, whatever that is. Find another job. I want to get into real estate. I'd love to. But again, the means of how do I bring money to the table?
Now, had Elena started talking to you guys at this point about a transition coming? Was this on the radar at all?
I definitely, she said there's more things out there for you. Right.
Okay.
And I think at the same time as when she brought you into Megan's reading, she brought us into readings of there's a blonde woman who's gonna, that's just gonna come into your life and rock your world.
I
and
never knew that element to the story.
Yeah. So it was mind blowing, right? Who is that person? And again, I think you guys talked about in episode 1 to where my wife, she's very open. She's very vocal. So she has no problem reaching out and just saying, "Hey, you're my person," or "Hey, kind of looking out for somebody, right? In ways that people just don't realize, right? I think that's just who she is. So, just going back, I think there was conversations around it, but again, I decided, with the conversation of my wife, my supporting wife, and saying, "Hey, I need to get out of this." She said, "Fine, do it, leave, do your courses, do your online courses, get licensed, and start doing your thing." So,
and meanwhile, I was also having those conversations with you too.
Yes.
But I was also having conversations with her.
Yes.
And I'm like, we were kind of scheming a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I think you probably know this now.
Yes, I
She
do.
was like, "I can't say these things. It has to come from you." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm already telling him. Like, what are you doing? Come on, let's do this."
But it was also conversations on the back end that her
Yeah.
and I had privately laying in bed, having conversation or having coffee and just saying, this is what I want to do. But I think she was just being supportive and not being pushy and saying, "This is what you're going to do." But more of a, just a help guide. Sometimes you need to hear it from other people outside of your significant other. Granted, I value everything she says, but I think it's just that extra push to kind of help validate. But needless to say, when I decided that I was done, I had decided to put in my resignation.
You jumped feet first. Once you made that decision, you were all in at that point.
I had to be because I needed to get my license and start procuring business and start learning the ropes. But yeah, they definitely reached out, were thrown off that I was putting in my resignation. Needless to say, a day later, I had a manager come out and sit down, conversation me, and say, "Hey, why are you leaving? Can we shield you from certain leadership and maybe give you a little bit less responsibilities and pay you more money?" I said, "That's not going to resolve the problem. That's a Band-Aid."
Right.
So said, I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing and continue off my resignation. So obviously still had business, still looking out for my employees, everybody, wanted to make sure it was a smooth transition. Not even a week later, I had 2 managers come out And
I forgot about that.
yeah, team managers came out and like, what can we do here? We don't want to lose you. You're doing great things. You've built a business. I just said, it's toxic.
Mm-hmm.
I can't continue to be this way and take it to my family. It's not fair to them by any means. So again, had a great conversation. They're like, just please stay on as long as you can. Then another manager came back out and he said, hey, I wanted to be here. See if you changed your mind. The owner of the company wants to have a conversation with you.
Oh, wow.
And I just said, I said, honestly, I respectfully decline.
Good for you.
I said, because they've had this many years to come and talk to me and say, how do we help you? How do we help you grow? How do we help your business?
Yeah.
Now you want to talk to me while I'm leaving? I respectfully decline, unfortunately. I appreciate it, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
It's not going to change my mind. I don't want to. No, thank you. And they kind of looked at me.
How did that feel?
Liberating.
Yeah, because you're definitely a people pleaser.
Yeah.
So that had to have been very hard for you to do.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. But also I had made up my mind
Mm-hmm.
at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very freeing. Like, you're moving on. Don't let this person come in, try to talk to you in a way that they're going to get in your head. And I'm going to be like, wow, do I actually leave? Or do I scrap the real estate thing
Yeah.
and stay here because, they're going to
everything
make
at you.
everything bigger and I'm like, better. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you're not fixing, at the end of the day, you're not
Right.
fixing my problem.
Yeah.
There's a toxic person. It's not just me dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody else. I've been in the world of HR. HR is there to protect the company,
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost. If I make complaints, I'm going to have a target on my back and constantly be worrying about, is today going to be my last day? Is today going to be my last day? Is today going to be my last day?
Yeah, you're showing up and you're working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? And we are working for,
Mhm.
obviously, our clients in this industry. But again, you traveled a lot for your job.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like easy travel either. It was like you went to Tokyo, I remember, right? Didn't you go to Tokyo?
I didn't go to Tokyo.
Where did you go? You went somewhere over there, I feel like.
No, I wish I want to go to Tokyo, but no, I haven't been to Tokyo. It was all domestic.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought that there was one
It
international.
was
or something
all
recently.
initially
gonna- yeah,
before
international.
before I put in my resignation. I was supposed to go to Mumbai,
That's right. Okay.
and
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
never made it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was supposed to do travel, and going back to a lot of that is, travel was fun
Mhm.
to a certain extent because I got to meet the people. I love being in front of people. To your point, I want everybody to be successful too.
Yeah.
Right? I want to pour into people. So getting in front of people, that was my big thing. Yes, granted, I did long hours just like real estate because I supported 4 different theaters.
Mhm.
I had to be on 7 in the morning, 6
Mhm.
o'clock at night,
Mhm.
12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to accommodate everybody.
Mhm.
So hence the reason why
You're a night owl.
I'm a night owl and you see emails come out sometimes,
Yeah.
wee
At
hours
2
of
in
the
the
morning.
morning, and then you're up texting. We were talking about that. You're up texting responding because I'm the early texter, responding on the team chat at like 6:30 in the morning,
Mhm.
and I'm like, does the dude ever sleep? I mean, you're always up. I feel.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. So there's been a lot that you have seen. First off, you've been licensed now for a year.
just over a year.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's been a year?
No,
It goes by fast.
it goes by really fast.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like I've been in it a couple of years already.
So how was the process of studying and getting licensed?
Brutal. Brutal. And I knew that eventually I was going to transition out of corporate, I think, in my mind.
Because you were studying and still trying to work there in the beginning.
Which was difficult.
Right.
Trying to cover all the hours for my corporate job to make sure my paycheck was coming in, and then spending a couple hours of family time, dinners, sports, whatever it may be, and then put the kids to bed, and then spend another 3 to 4 hours trying to get through my 180 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was pretty difficult at times.
And how did it feel when you knew that you passed?
Well, I mean, I was beyond myself. I'm not a great tester. I think went into my car, said, "Let's go," with a bad word in it,
With an expletive?
where nobody can hear me in a way that my voice cracked, and you can hear. My
Yeah.
voice is very,
Yeah.
monotone, and to where it cracked. And I was super excited. And obviously, the first person I couldn't wait to tell was Megan. And it was funny because I had been studying. I don't think I even told you guys, you and Derek, as our best friends, and like, this is what I'm going to do. You guys knew that I was studying.
Yeah,
And,
we didn't know you had scheduled the test yet.
Yeah. So I had to do it and just do it for myself
Yeah.
and not
But it
have
was
the
funny
nerves.
because you told me every time you were passing the level course,
Yeah.
you were like, I just passed,
Another
3, I
course,
just
yeah.
passed 4, I just passed 5. And then it was like kind of radio silent. And then all of a sudden it was like, by the way, I was like, wait, what? And then we all went to dinner to celebrate.
We all went to dinner and had
Yeah.
an amazing dinner and drinks. And yeah, it's been life-changing, to say that I actually did it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, because you're so stuck in the corporate world. Yeah, you get promotions, you move on to new things, but to feel like I just changed industries and
In
accomplished
your
something.
40s. Like, let's talk about that though, right? Because they always tell you that you're too old to reinvent yourself. When you hit a certain, people in their 30s are saying that now. And I'm like, says who?
Says who?
Like, tell me I can't again and watch me. You know what I mean? In fact, little side note there, next book is coming. Tell Me I Can't Again is the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't.
Tell me, seriously though, like, tell me I can't again and then watch me.
Yeah.
Because who says that at 40, well, I was 37, I guess, at the time when I got into real estate, and then obviously Derek, he retired in his 40s, and now here you are transitioning yourself and reinventing yourself in your 40s,
Yeah.
with small children on top of it.
With small children. So, yeah, and, going back to your question, transitioning industries, it was really reading a different language,
Mm-hmm.
trying to put together a tank.
Yeah. And
What
also
is this?
having to believe yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like believing that you are powerful, that you are worthy, that that you do deserve this,
Mhm.
because it's sometimes difficult, particularly in an industry such as this, where it can be very competitive. There's 60,000 licensed agents in Dallas-Fort Worth. And I don't even know how many across the country, but I do know that there was a statistic that came out by the
Mhm.
National Association of Realtors that in 2024, last year, 71% of licensed agents didn't make a single deal last year. That is wild,
That is
right?
wild.
Especially knowing that our team in the first year wound up producing as much as we did. I don't remember what we finished at, but it was over 40 million or something.
Mhm.
Which isn't about the number by any means. To me, that was just like, wow, we all came together and really led with our hearts on serving all of these people that trusted us to serve
Yeah.
them in some of their biggest moments, of their life. We did a lot of residential. There was some commercial, but it was a lot of residential last year, which I love the residential space. You're kind of starting to tap your toes in a little bit on the commercial, shadowing me and
Yeah.
doing it. But you see that it's very different because commercial is all business. It is super transactional. It is like no emotion at all,
Mhm.
And so, and a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, you fall off the closing table before you ever get to closing. So you've done all of this time of work. You saw
Yeah, I
the
see
land
all
deal,
the time,
right?
yeah.
In Austin, which I'll get to in a second. But, and so you've done all this work for free without ever getting paid. But also, there's no emotion on the other side
Mhm.
either. And so then you kind of feel like this emptiness. Like, we're
100%.
self-service, or I'm not self-service. We're serving other industry, right? And it's not a self-service industry. And so when that happens, it's almost like your cup empties really quickly. But on the residential side, it's great because it is some of the happiest times. Sometimes it's some of the saddest, depending
Mhm.
on the circumstances. But a lot of times it is excitement. It is joy. It is, the next chapter of their life. And we get to celebrate that. We get to be a part of that.
Most definitely.
Right? And it's so
That's rewarding.
cool.
Yeah, that's very
it's-
rewarding.
It's super rewarding. But like I just said, and I had that land deal, which was wild.
Mhm.
Remember the Austin one,
was.
Lake Travis?
Yes.
So this one was probably the most stressful I've ever been. We wound up putting this. So I got a tip from another agent that there was a property that was already zoned, already had the majority of the utilities. It was mixed use. So it had large lots. It had a condo development, a townhouse development, a retirement village is what they called it,
Okay.
and then patio homes,
Mhm.
all on the north shore of Lake Travis. Beautiful property. And I called the agent, and she actually called me, and she was like, "How serious is your client?" I was like, "My client's very serious. He's sent proof of funds." She was like, "Okay, when can you be here to see it?" And I said, this was on a Wednesday, and I said I could be there on Monday. She goes, "Elon Musk is coming on Friday to tour it." I said, "I'll be there tomorrow." We hopped on a flight. We went down, literally put it under contract that next night. So like we toured it. My client couldn't even be there. We wound up doing FaceTime tours, put like all this stuff together. And the seller wanted $1 million non-refundable feasibility money, okay, on top of the earnest money. And he needed it closed in 60 days because it was going to go into foreclosure, and there was no more time on this deal. He'd had it for like 20 years. He kept borrowing against the property. And so, older guy just really needed to let it go. It was the most complicated deal I've ever done. It was a huge price tag. I honestly didn't really have a whole lot of experience in the land space at that point. Thank goodness that's when I got connected to Josh McKinney from the Measure Group, who will be a guest later on in the season. But he and I figured out how to kind of put this puzzle together. And we finally, it was red flag after red flag everywhere, right? But we did hold it together. However, we got to literally the closing table. Okay. And mind you, there was no time left. Like the bank was like, "We've exhausted everything. You have to close this thing Friday at 5 p.m. We'll come Tuesday. My client's like, "Okay, well, it's myself and 3 other partners, all of which are in different states across the country." So we had notaries go to each of them, titled sent notaries to each of them on Tuesday. We're like, okay, this will be plenty of time, right? So wet signatures can be sent back on Wednesday. So the FedEx was supposed to be delivered to the lawyers, the lender, lawyer's lender in Florida, so that they could fund, okay, on Wednesday morning. They go to deliver it, and it was supposed to be there by 10 a.m. Apparently, there was a marathon in Miami to where they could not access the office, and so they moved it to the next day. And Title's like, "Not a big deal. Like, this happens all the time." I'm like, "This is kind of a big deal. Like, we're really coming down to the wire." So I'm on the phone with FedEx. Of course, FedEx is like, "You're not the sender. You're not the receiver. We can't talk to you." And so Title's like, "Just trust it. It'll be fine. Thursday morning." Well, guess what? Thursday morning rolls around, and that thing was not delivered. And now it's showing Friday morning. I'm like, "Oh, hell no." So I'm literally on the phone. I'm crying. I'm like, "You don't understand. This guy's going to lose his land, and my client's going to lose $1 million. Like, we have to figure this out." And so it was one sweet angel man on FedEx who actually gave me the information. And he was like, "Listen, this is now Friday morning. It had not been delivered, okay?" He was like, "It is sitting at the FedEx office 2 blocks from your attorney's office." And I was like, "What?" And so I'm on my way to the airport. I've booked a flight to Miami. I'm going to go fly there to go find it. Okay, do you remember this?
Yes.
I'm going to fly there to find it, and I'm calling anybody I can find on the website of this massive law firm, like a psychopath, okay? And I finally get one intern who happens to be taking lunch at her desk. It's now noon. We have to fund by 5 p.m., okay? And also Miami's an hour ahead of us. So it's now 1 o'clock their time, and I still am trying to hop on a flight. And I found this intern who I basically was like, "I will send you $500 Venmo right now if you'll take your business card," because she had to show that she worked for the law firm, "and walk over and pick up the FedEx." She goes, "Okay." And so I did. I sent Venmo. I was like, "I'll send it to you now. I just need to know that you've picked it up." And she sent me a screenshot that said it's in my hands, and we funded at 4:52 p.m. on that Friday.
Wow.
It was wild. But then I turned around and worked on it for another 2 years to sell it. And guess what happened? After 2 years of working on selling it on the other side, attending city council meetings and doing all the things, the buyer terminated 6 weeks before closing. So that goes to show all of that work that had been done for 2 years after, completely out the window. Completely out the window.
Yeah, it's wild.
And so I feel like residential keeps you grounded, and fulfilled, right? Because there was so much emotion and stress, and it was wild.
Yeah, but to your point, the process it's a lot different process. There's no feelings in it, but also it keeps you well-rounded. I mean, one, doesn't surprise me that you went out of your way. I'm surprised you didn't get your own jet and fly yourself out, learn how to
couldn't
fly
afford it.
yourself out there and figure out how to get that package because that's what you do.
I would have
mean,
had time to learn to get a license
Exactly.
to fly.
I mean, you would have figured it out. But that's what you do, right? I mean, you go out there and you make stuff happen. I think a lot of people don't see that on the other side of your business, right? I mean, we'll probably get into that later, but at the end of the day, you're going to do whatever needs to be done to get the job done and get the deal done, to look out for the best interest of your clients. You pour your whole heart into it, which is, again, something that is, that I look up to as well. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. But the flip side too is that you're well-rounded, right? I mean, how many people actually come to you within the office and they're like, hey, I don't know commercial. And you're like, I'm that person.
I'll show you. Like, come on, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's always good for people to learn. I'm a huge advocate of if you stop growing, you stop going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pretend to know that I know everything, nor am I ever going to know everything. I want to continue to show up and I want to continue to strive and continue to learn every day. And I love the fact that you're the same way.
But it's more instant gratification for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's where, if
and
it's
it helps
boring,
us serve people better.
If it's boring, I kind of put it to the wayside.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you've been to Retreat.
Yeah.
So Compass does an annual conference every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's called Retreat. And you went with me your very first year of being licensed. And here we are now after attending Retreat. What is it about Compass that you think stands out above other options out there? Particularly, you just came home from United Wholesale Mortgage Conference with a ton of other agents from all different brokerages. So from both a consumer client aspect and also from an agent aspect, what do you think it is about Compass that stands out?
First and foremost, the leadership from the top, right? You got Robert, who...
And who's Robert? Just for those that don't know.
He's the owner, CEO of Compass. An amazing man. He is out there and he works for you. I mean, at the company retreat, we saw him at almost every event. Mm-hmm. He came up, shook our hand, had a conversation with us. It wasn't about, I'm the president, I'm on my way, or the owner of the company, I've started this. He was level-headed, absolutely amazing. So I think
this is somebody that has over 30,000 agents underneath him. Mm-hmm. He's built it from the ground up out of New York. He is a disruptor in the space. I mean, that's easily to state. And it's $1 billion company that's gone IPO.
But he's looking out for the best interests of his team,
right?
Of his family. I mean, he feels an obligation to go out there and work for his people. And he'll first and foremost tell you that. What do you need? How can I help you? That's absolutely amazing. And again, that's leadership, just as you do. That's huge. So I can't really speak to other brokerages, right? But, talking to other agents, yes, going to the retreat, meeting hundreds of different agents that, maybe just joined Compass or have been there since day one, but came from other brokerages. Mm-hmm. Just the platform, I think is huge. The back end, the marketing, the support they get from their office managers. You hear it a lot that a lot of these other brokerages, and no shame to them or, not trying to badmouth them, they just don't have that level of product or services that they provide to their teams. And again, every brokerage is different. Everybody comes from different worlds. So, again, I think that's one of the biggest complaints I hear is, we don't have support or we don't have mentorship. We don't have training. We don't have marketing centers to help us out with some of our marketing. We're using Canva. We're relying on past relationships to help us get us through this next deal. And I understand, I mean, again, every deal that I've dealt with has been completely different. And so,
but I can't imagine doing any of those deals without the Compass technology and the tools that they provide to us,
exactly.
Right? I feel so blessed that they give us that and that they invest so much into. But also, there's something to be said about the leadership because Robert literally has his cell phone number in his signature. Mm-hmm. And he sends out these emails, and I've used it. You know that.
Yes.
I mean, I am that person who, we were working on a development deal, and it was a big company out of Dubai, and actually the owner was like, well, you guys are great, but I want to meet your CEO on Monday. And we were like, okay, and we had gone to our sales manager at the time. She's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. We didn't really get a whole lot of guidance, and we didn't really know what we were doing either, but we were up against Frederick Eklund and some other people. And so I was like, I'm just going to call Robert. So I picked up the phone and I called him. And I left a voicemail, and I was like, you don't know me. I'm one of your baby agents. I've only been licensed a year. I'm down here in Dallas. I'm happy to pay for your flight, but I'm really going to need you to be here on Monday because we have this development consultant or this development meeting, and the owner wants to meet you. Like, he has already met us. We've already met with him several times. He wants to meet you. And I was like, so can we please work something out? I know it's Thursday, but I need you here on Monday. And within 15 minutes, his chief of staff had called me.
That's amazing.
And we worked it out. I mean, he couldn't be here because he was already committed, but they put us in contact with Justin Diadamo over at Compass Development and Brian Pacholski, our managing director, of Dallas Fort Worth. And they showed up for us. And it was like the most awe-inspiring thing because you see how reachable he is. In fact, so reachable that I reached out to him about being a guest on the podcast, and he is coming next week.
Love it.
So Robert Refkin is going to be here with us to spill the tea.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one to watch for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've talked about business. Let's get into a little bit of tea.
Okay.
But I want to kind of like make it fun. All right. So this is going to be some questions that I'm going to give you. You have to answer them. Ooh. Nothing is off limits. But you can't overthink it. You have to just spill it.
Oof, okay.
Deal?
Deal.
Okay. You love music.
Yes.
You love music. What's your go-to open house hype song?
Ooh, depending on the day. But on top of my mind, House of Pain.
House of Pain. Okay.
Jump Around.
Jump Around.
I came here to win. Battle me, that's a sin.
Jump around.
Yeah, I came here to win. Jump around.
Jump around. Jump up and get down.
This is my hype song in my car. People are probably looking at me from the outside and wondering, what am I doing here?
Okay, this next one's spicy.
Ooh, okay.
It is the dreaded Z. Zillow.
Ooh.
If Zillow was a person, what would you say to them?
You're toxic.
Best answer ever. No.
You're toxic. You gaslight. You make our lives difficult.
Yeah. That damn Zestimate, man. It's the pain in my side that doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
Their algorithm does not know. Sometimes a computer just cannot outsmart a human. I'm sorry. Can't. Yeah. I'll probably get a lawsuit subpoenaed here for speaking negatively about the Big Z, but that's fine. Allegedly.
Just let Robert know.
Allegedly, there's estimate. Let's say if you use the term alleged, I don't think
does that clear you?
Yeah.
Allegedly,
maybe.
they're toxic.
Allegedly,
they
they're
gaslight.
Toxic. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever pretended to like a house just to keep the showing short?
Yes.
I mean, everybody does that. No, maybe. Allegedly. Okay. If the group chat got leaked, what's the one thing you hope doesn't make it to the air?
Ooh-wee.
Connor's mugshot.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say somebody's mugshot, but...
So Connor is in Instagram jail, and so we made a joke because he kept trying to set... So Connor is one of the guys on our team, and he kept trying to set up an Instagram, and every time he would do so, he would get a notification a day later that says that he's violated terms and practices. And so they had disabled his account, and he tried like 10 different email addresses. And so we were like, Connor, what did you do? And so then the joke within the team started becoming hashtag what did Connor do? So then I might have had a little champagne because that's what I do one night. And I was playing around on Canva, and I took his headshot and I put it in a wanted poster. And it said Instagram wanted, reward $1 million, hashtag what did Connor do?
Nice, love it.
But I think if somebody didn't know the context of that and our group chat got
what
leaked,
is going on?
They would be like, what? The other one would be that we say that Emmy has Tourette's because she's hilarious in the things that she says.
I mean, if anybody was to look at that, they would be like, what is this team doing?
I know.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? This is a team funny. I wouldn't want to work for because you guys are out of your mind. But it's a family chat. It's totally a family chat to where we can have those conversations.
Yeah.
Even going back to Connor to where, I felt like I wanted to make him a T-shirt, almost like the Tiger Woods one. Or when I did a marketing flyer to help him out, I put his, a photo kind of in the similar manner that it just wasn't a professional real estate photo. It just, just to have some fun.
So
but
funny.
Again.
Well, and then you did that one joke on him too, where you were putting together the marketing documents, and
exactly.
And you used that image from the chat. That is so funny.
Yes.
Okay, what is your wildest moment in real estate so far?
Wildest, honestly, being let go from a listing.
Yeah, listen. First off, let's talk about that, because that's the kind of the ugly behind the scenes, right? Yeah. That was a first in my career also. But I know that you really hold yourself to a very high standard, and that ate you at your core. Yeah. But I want to reiterate, okay, that we did our job. Mm-hmm. We did our job. We brought this particular client, it was a listing, who felt like we hadn't served them. We had priced well, we staged, we had amazing photos. The market has been hard, and we had 18 showings over the course of a couple of weeks, a few open houses, but there were some people that no-showed for their showings, even though we had confirmed with them on multiple occasions. And so, the seller got a little frustrated, which I totally understand, and that's valid, but it was totally out of our control. We also brought how many offers?
2 offers.
2 offers that were not bad offers at all. They were up against new construction, and so the buyers were very transparent about what
was out in the market,
what was out in the market, and
offered.
What they were being offered. Yeah. Yes, by their other agent, or by the
builder incentives.
And we tried to guide, and it is what it is. They decided to go with the new construction. Again, those are things that are out of our control. At the time, I heard this particular client state that they were a little concerned about our communication style. Mm-hmm. And I will say that I went back, because we lost the listing to a friend of mine, thankfully, who called me and was like, hold on, girl, this is not normal for you. And I just was like, you know what? Let me just share what the concerns were. And I validated those concerns, because I can't tell anybody that how they feel is incorrect. Sure. But from my perspective, when I go back and I look at that chat with the client, I mean, it took me 2.5 minutes on a screen grab just to go through everything. So I want you to release that, because I, as your team lead, do not feel that we did not show up and do our job. And I'll be the first one to say if I felt like we didn't show up and do our job. And there have been times when things have slipped through the cracks. Mm-hmm. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, and like I said, when I say wild, when I kind of refer to that as wild, is just because, again, it's circumstances, obviously, different opinions on how things were handled, but also failure portion. And I say that wild.
Sure.
For me, at least, it was wild. Because I don't like failure.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was a wild moment in my short career span, but also it was a great learning curve for me. Yes, it weighed on me, because I want to do right. I want to close out a deal. If I committed to something, I want to close it out. But it also was a great learning curve for me that, again, readjust yourself. You need to communicate in certain manners with the individual. But also these things are going to happen, because how many people do we talk to that we're not trying to go after anybody, but somebody happens to come and talk to us and say, hey, I'm just not happy with my agent.
Right.
So that's what really validated on my side as well, to say, hey, it happens.
We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
And 2, this is a very different market. Yeah. Okay. And so what we're having to overcome right now is that, and I say this often now, but we're dealing with sellers who still think it's 2021. We're dealing with buyers who think that it's 2008. Mm-hmm. That is a hard middle ground to be in, because we still don't know what the answers are. Yeah. You know what I mean? And many agents that I'm talking to still don't know what that means. Okay, but I appreciate the vulnerability.
Outside of that, I would say another wild moment is just doing showings and walking into sellers' homes and not knowing what to expect, and maybe seeing things that have been left out, and you're just like, sorry,
need
but
you to
I
put that
can't
away?
control the
Yeah.
uncontrollables.
Yeah.
But this is a great house. Don't let that,
Don't let that deter you.
you from possibly seeing yourself in this house.
Yeah.
So there's different wild meanings for me, at least, I guess. And,
Sure.
but again, it's part of real estate, and that's what I love. Every day is different.
Every day is different. Okay, let's move on. So this is now a new section that I wanted to roll out because I thought it'd be fun.
Okay.
Called the lightning round.
Oof.
It's a rapid fire, no explanation. You just have to pick this or that. Okay.
Okay.
New build or historic fixer upper.
New build.
Quick. New build. Okay. Open house or private showing.
Open house.
Google Calendar or paper planner.
Google Calendar.
Crocs with socks or barefoot at a listing.
Ooh, Crocs with socks.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'll rock Crocs.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
Meg hates them, but I rock them.
Drive clients or follow in their own car. Follow in their own
All
car.
in their own car.
Beach vacation or mountain cabin.
Beach vacation.
Free headshots for life or someone to write all your listing descriptions forever.
Listing descriptions forever.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yes.
No. Okay. $20,000 commission or super difficult client who calls or texts you every 5 minutes and disagrees with every advice you give.
I mean, no brainer. $20,000 commission.
Really? I don't know.
But wait. Let's go back to that.
Or super difficult client who calls or texts you every 5 minutes and disagrees with every advice you give.
So why wouldn't you want the 20K?
No. What? Oh, true. I see. Yep. Okay.
The way it was worded.
Yep.
Would I
Yep.
take 20K? Absolutely, if it's free.
Absolutely. You're right. Okay. Dun dun dun.
Uh-oh.
Here's the big one. Drum roll, please. If Compass and Zillow are in the boxing ring, who wins?
Compass.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yes.
Okay. That was fun. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Just a little,
Okay.
little something
Put
to
me on the
kinda-
spot.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the sprinkle side of the hour. You've worked across cultures and industries and now neighborhoods. How do you build trust fast in a competitive space like real estate?
How do you build trust? I think just being you, first
I
and
love that.
foremost.
I taught you well, Mike.
This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. These are the services I can provide. Again, we're not everybody's cup of tea, and we definitely don't want to be in a difficult relationship. So
Yeah,
either
nobody
we can,
wants to be in an unhappy marriage.
we can make this work or we can't.
Do you feel that? Because I know in the very beginning you were, you're still very hungry, right? But you were like, I'll take anything,
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of people do. But do you feel now that you're a bit more intentional about those that you want to work with? Now that you've experienced some of the things that you've experienced?
Definitely. I think if there's a red flag that you see, you should definitely follow your gut.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was brand new and, I went to you for one of our, my first deals, with your blessing, I'll take it. And you had already said you weren't kind of comfortable, but if I wanted to take the lead on it, by all means.
We talked about it in episode 1.
You did.
Meg and I did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, again, when you're hungry or when you're new, you're going to take on anything. But now as you move on and you see all these different scenarios, and again, the deals that I've done, I've been, been grateful for the deals and, having you as a mentor, but really understanding that if there's a red flag, we definitely need to discuss it because we're not here just to take on listings or take on buyers. Really kind of just listen to your gut, I guess, at the end of the day. Listen to your gut and pick and choose your battles because it's, kind of
It's
pushing me
almost
back to the corporate world of
Right.
I have this toxic client or person that I'm working for and
You have to protect your space too. It's a
FML.
two-way interview, right?
Yeah.
They're interviewing us, but we're also interviewing them.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's someone out there right now, I'm sure, that's been thinking about making a leap and, probably fearful to do so, probably thinking like I'm too old or it's not the right time or how am I going to do this, questioning themselves. What would you say to them and what advice specifically would you give?
do it. Do it.
I like it.
Figure out a game plan.
Let's go.
Let's go. I think getting into this industry, a lot of people don't understand it is expensive. It's really expensive. So if you can put yourself in a position to where you can put together an egg nest to kind of hold you over so you're not constantly worrying about where my next paycheck's going to come from or how I'm going to pay for a bill or whether that's mortgage or rent, put yourself in a position to where you can go all in and really put yourself all in because definitely you're going to get out of it what you put in. And trying to focus on other pieces outside of real estate as a new agent is just not helpful. By any
Yeah,
means.
people don't really talk about that element of real estate and how expensive it is. They just think that we list a house, we sell it, we make a bunch of money. They don't realize the MLS association dues, the licensing dues, the errors and omissions
E&Os.
insurance, the cost of photography and staging and marketing and all the things. I mean,
printouts.
you know, you and I talk. I mean, and then also we're self-employed, so we're paying taxes on top of it,
Yes.
and in medical insurance. I mean, I'm carrying $2,500 a month in medical insurance for my family. And then last year, I mean, the team spent over $65,000 in staging alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's somebody's salary.
That is somebody's salary. And
So
so
at the end, and then the time, because again, we don't get paid unless it gets closed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think be
So
mindful of that for sure.
one last question before we wrap up. Obviously, our families are very close.
Yes.
How has it been? Because again, they say don't mix business with pleasure, right?
Yeah.
How does it feel? And don't worry, you're not going to get let go here. This is an honest thing. You're a lifer.
It's recorded.
It's recorded. I'll use it later on. No. How has it been as close as our families are? Has it been awkward? Does it make anything different in any element?
No,
working
I don't.
with
I
me?
think it's actually been amazing. I mean, work is work. We know how to separate it.
Yeah.
I think that for the most part, we can openly communicate. Well, not for the most part. We do openly communicate
Yeah.
about anything that's going on. So I think that's what helps our families and our working relationships thrive because we can have conversations. And I think
people
it's
don't
just
realize
honest.
that we have businesses together.
Yeah.
This is not just a real estate thing, team up. This has been our family owned property together, and we have an Airbnb business and, other and investments together and things like that. So people always ask me, how's that dynamic? And I'm like, Mikey's like my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are always together. People often mistake that we are officially together because we're at networking events together.
Yes.
I'm like, oh God, no. I mean, no offense. Love you, but you're my brother,
Thanks.
And you're my husband's bestie and your
Yes.
wife is my bestie. And I love how just easy it is, because like you said, the four of us come together, we communicate so well.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And again, I mean, it's
I was
not to-
hoping that was going to be your answer. by
not
the
to
way.
offend anybody, but yeah, I have two wives. two wives. I have a work wife and a housewife. So it doesn't even matter if I'm talking to you.
And also, the work wife tells the housewife everything.
That's exactly what I was going to get to. Before I even get into my car, you're probably already on the phone with her, and she's asking me questions. I'm like, how did you even know that? Why are you talking to me about this right now? Like, I haven't even
gets
gotten
past
home.
us.
Nothing gets past And then vice versa.
Yeah.
I get home. What did Amanda say? What happened? And I'm like, can I,
We actually
Did you guys not talk
nicknamed-
yet?
Yeah, we nicknamed ourselves the Rapitas.
Yes.
So Rupley and Nishita, Rapitas.
Rapita.
Yeah. All right, Mikey. Well, let me just say this. I think you brought a lot to the table today, and I think I appreciate the realness and the vulnerability and kind of just sharing what that snapshot has been like. I think it's important for everybody out there to know that you don't need all the answers before you start. I think that was a big takeaway that I've taken from this, hearing you. It's how I feel, and I always love when I come across other people that are like-minded and are like, let's go, When Mike joined us, we didn't have fancy systems or a polished brand. We had heart, we had hustle, and we had trust. Trust being a big element there. We've continued to build trust with each and every team member that comes on board. It is, really important that what we are building stays as a family unit. And that's enough. So start where you are, build it messy, figure it out as you go, just start. Mike's story reminds me that it's never too late to pivot, not when you have purpose, not when you've got heart. You can take 20 years of experience in a totally different world and turn it into something new like Mike did. This business isn't just about houses, and as you've shared, Mike, it is about people and connection, and particularly courage. Showing up every day, putting one foot in front of the other. And I hope all of you and you, Mike, that your next chapter can be the one that changes everything. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure you'll be back.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'm sure you'll be back. See, this wasn't that scary, was it?
It wasn't. But
Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for this week's sip. And if you're not fired up to build your dream after that, I don't know what to tell you, except maybe come back next week. We'll try it all over again. We've got some big guests lining up for you guys over the next couple weeks that you definitely don't want to miss. Remember, these episodes drop on Mondays at 8:30 Central on YouTube and Spotify. And, of course, each week you come back for the real talk, the real tea, the real stories, unapologetically told. Because you can't make magic in beige lighting, and they wanted tea, but you gave them bubbles. Because you're champagne. Until next time, guys, stay fabulous, stay fearless, and always spill it like it is. Thanks for being here.
That's a wrap on this episode of Real to the Tea, where we served the real, spilled the tea, and left you with that motivational magic on top. If you laughed, gasped, or shouted "same" at any point, hit that subscribe button, drop a review, and share it with your ride or die. Follow Amanda on Instagram at Amanda Rupley, and catch the unfiltered visuals at Real to the Tea on YouTube and the Gram.